A second stimulus check is finally coming to you. But did it involve the courtship of Nancy Pelosi? Hey, good afternoon, everybody. This is LALATE. Hope you're great and safe. This is afternoon's LALATE and really a great day. There's a Texas Chainsaw Massacre happening on set. So if you hear a chainsaw, today we have chainsaw, yesterday we had foghorn, tomorrow we'll have like elephants walking through the set. Afternoon's LALATE always starts at 3:30 Pacific time, goes to hazard pay, then FPUC, and finally rent assistance. Big exciting news, great news, that you're getting a second stimulus check, yes, by order of the president yesterday, and I have really exciting news and a little bit of what the hell news as well. First, I'm going to be going over the amount. Then I'll be going over the big issue that a lot of you asked about, the dependents. Next, I will be going over whether this is a change of policy for the president. And finally, remainder of the money and authority to send. A lot of you have been asking, does he have authority to send? 5 issues I'll be going over with you, but let's get right to the great news. The check. The amount of the check, $1,200. Single individuals get $1,200 if they're non-dependents. Married couples, $2,400. Very simple, great news. How about a household? Well, the president's order is a household of only 4 individuals, a little bit of what the hell news. 4 individuals in the household, so married couple with 2 dependents, it could be a grandmother and a grandpa, or it could be 2 children, and those dependents get $500. No, not $1,200, but $500. More about that in a second. So the total amount per household is $3,400, not $6,000 as proposed by the Democrats. Next, if you are a dependent, you get $500. So as you saw in my reporting over the last couple of weeks, I said, be on high alert. If you're on dependent on someone else's tax return, it's going to be a big ticket item, a big issue item. And sure enough, it is today. So if you're on SSDI, SSI, Social Security, or Railroad benefits, great news, because you're going to get a check. But a little bit of what the hell news, because for some of you, this is your first stimulus check. It's not your second stimulus check. And you're not getting a real good check. You're getting a $500 check. I saw your comments this morning. More about that in a second. If you're calling to the first stimulus package, if you're an adult dependent and you're on someone else's tax return, you're over 18 years of age and you're a dependent on someone else's tax return, which a lot of people on SSDI, SSI, and Social Security and Railroad benefits are, you didn't get a first stimulus check. So now the second stimulus check is coming around, which would be your first. And what are you getting under the president's order? $500? More about that in a second. All right, let me get to the issue of the dependents. Dependents had always thought that they were going to get a full $1,200 second stimulus check. It came out of really nowhere that the president proposed today that dependents would get $500. Moreover, the issue of dependents is even more perplexing with this family of 4. This is the what the hell news today. What the hell? Why is the president suddenly calling it a family of 4? Are there only families of 4 in America? No. So under this family of 4 idea, he's only paying 2 dependents. So here's an example, husband and wife, 2 children and a grandma. The grandma doesn't get anything? Come on, let's pay grandma. Why are we not paying grandma anything? Or are the children supposed to fight over the $500? And why is $500 stimulus? That's not stimulus, that's nothing. A lot of people are not happy. Let me talk about the reaction shortly. In this morning's broadcast of LALATE morning's broadcast, which was a very, very well received, very great comments across the board. Thank you for all the love. I was wondering what people's reaction would be. And overwhelmingly, I had asked you to comment below what you thought, and comment to this video also. What do you think? Overwhelming comment was, how dare you have me wait for my first stimulus check after I didn't get a first stimulus I was not eligible for a first stimulus check because I was over 18 years of age and I'm a dependent. And now I'm getting $500? What the hell is with the $500? People were not happy whatsoever with the $500. Change of policy. Item number 3. Is this a change of policy? It is. Viewers of this channel do not forget. We're like elephants. We don't forget anything. If you tell me except that one viewer who can't remember what shirt I'm wearing that day, who always says I'm wearing purple every day. And by the way, this is brown. This is not purple. Viewers of this channel don't forget. You've all repeatedly mentioned that famous quote by the president that said, hey, I don't like what the Democrats are proposing to you. $1,200 second stimulus check, the president said. That's not sufficient. Remember the quote? You remember the quote. He says, I want to give you a more generous check than $1,200. Those words were actually repeated by Steve Mnuchin over 2 or 3 interviews thereafter. The president wants to give you a more generous check than the $1,200 the Democrats propose. So what is he proposing today? $500 for dependents. Change of policy? Yes. Remainder of the money. Some of the viewers have asked, okay, well, this is good as a start. We'll get the remainder of the money. There's no indication by the president you're getting the remainder of the $500. So if you're sitting back and wondering, okay, I'll get a $500 dependent check, and then hopefully I'll get the remainder of the $1,200 shortly thereafter. Oh no. Oh no. He's at $500. There's no indication you're going to get the remainder of the policy of the check. Now, one of the viewers had a really nice comment this morning. He says, I love your channel, LALATE, because it's not red, it's not blue. It is right in the middle, just telling the facts. Yes, I'm just telling you the facts. You need to decide whether you're unhappy or not. I'm not going to tell that for you. This is the purple channel, as you don't realize. Authority to send. This was the big ticket item of questions. People hitting me on Twitter and Instagram and in the channel. LALATE, do you think he'll send? And does he have the authority to send? And what will happen with the money? This is my reporting on the subject matter. Not today, which is Saturday, but a week ago yesterday, the president said he was going to, shortly thereafter, issue an executive order to send out FPUC money, which you know is $600 a week from the federal government under the first stimulus package. And everyone's just like, he can't do that. That's unconstitutional. He has no authority to do it. That's absolutely true. The president has no authority ever under the Constitution to send out money. He does not have authority to tell Steve Mnuchin to send out money from the Treasury. Steve Mnuchin is his Treasury Secretary. He oversees the money of the Treasury. The president has no authority to have Steve Mnuchin send out money from the Treasury. It's only an act of Congress. So that was a week ago yesterday. People were like, he has no authority to do it. Guess what happened a week ago today? The president did exactly that. He issued an executive order. He said, I'm ordering the Treasury to send out FPUC, not $600 a week, but he's ordered the Treasury to send out money. And everyone's like, he can do that? He can't do that. So today the questions resumed. Can the president issue a second stimulus check? Here is my answer to the questions. And also the questions were, will he? Based upon what he did last week with FPUC being issued by Treasury under his watch and not by act of Congress, it's highly likely it's going to happen. Absolutely. There's no indication it won't happen. In fact, the verb used by the president in his announcement, which was informal, but that's the way he does things. Don't assume everything has to be formal with this president. He doesn't do things formally. He says, I have directed Steve Mnuchin to send out direct payments of $3,400 per family of 4. So there you go. Now, how about the act of the authority to send? Viewers keep on asking me, but he has no authority to send. Here's how it's going to play out. If you don't realize it, let me explain to you how this is going to play out. Now, ultimately, I'm not in his brain, but I'm going to tell you how this is going to play out. The president will will send out the second stimulus checks, and viewers will be like, well, he has no authority to. My reaction is, okay, who's going to sue him? He clearly wants Nancy Pelosi to sue him so that he can turn around and say, Nancy Pelosi is suing me to America, so you can't get your stimulus checks. This is why America should not like Nancy Pelosi. It's absolutely a winning argument. And so that is how it plays out. Ultimately, he has no authority to do it. He can do it. He will do it. And if someone challenges it, in franklyhood, it won't look good for them. So we're at that cusp of the discussion. What's going to happen, LALATE? Well, ironically, the response so far has been very good in the comments to the $1,200 check, but extremely poor as to the $500 check. Drop your comments below. I'd love to hear what you say. Keep the profanities down, please. I know some of you are really pissed. But viewers are not happy, especially those on SSDI, SSI, Social Security and Railroad benefits, who are adult dependents, which means they're 18 years of age or older and on someone else's tax return, and were not eligible for the first stimulus check. Did not get a first stimulus check. So this is their first stimulus check. It's not, for them, it's not a second stimulus check. It's their first stimulus check. And they're sitting back and saying, since March, you're giving me $500 of stimulus? This is crap. And I saw the remarks, they used more stronger words than crap. They're not happy. And they rightfully are so not happy. How is giving someone who is, ironically, just 18 years of age or older, that's where adult dependency kicks in, how is giving someone who's 18 years of older their first check since the pandemic started in March of $500? And why is it only $2 in the household? Now, let me explain what the Democrats propose. The Democrats propose a household of 5. They propose a household of 5 of $1,200 for every person in the household. So the household check at most could be $6,000, not $3,400 as the president proposes. So, and what they would do is you would basically have married couple, $1,200, and then 3 dependents, and the dependents can be, grandma and grandpa and 1 kid, or kid and 1 grandma, but they all got $1,200. So they propose not only more money, the Democrats, but also more checks in that house. It's unclear as we sit here today where the president came up with this calculation, and if you don't realize this $3,400 amount, which I didn't cover this morning, this is so important. The $3,400 amount was not from Mitch McConnell either. We've not heard this $3,400 amount under the Republican proposal of the HEALS Act. That was the bill the Republicans wrote. We just sort of, heard it yesterday for the first time. Now, the day started great yesterday as Steve Mnuchin came to the table and offered more money and put more money on the table in the second stimulus package. If you didn't watch morning's LALATE, let me explain to you what's going on and where everyone is. It's like a game of Where's Waldo. It's like playing Monopoly, but someone wants to tell you there's no game pieces to put on the board. Well, one broadcasting news, which I slammed this morning, I'm not going to do it again as the heat really picks up out here, was telling you that everyone has left town and nothing is going to be done on the second stimulus package till September. Untrue. That there never would be any activity on the second stimulus package until September. Well, obviously, we know that's not true now because we see all this activity in the last 24 hours. What's going on with Congress? Well, Congress is home. They're physically home, but they're under order to return within 24 hours of an agreement between Steve Mnuchin and Nancy Pelosi. So within 24 hours, they're ordered to return back to D.C. within 24 hours of any deal from Nancy and Steve. House would vote the first day on the bill. Senate would vote the first day on the bill. House would vote the next day on the bill. The president would sign the bill into law the third day. So to say or to turn on that broadcast cable channel that continually is telling viewers in the last 24 hours no activity from Congress will ever happen, that this is a dead subject until September, is totally false reporting. Now, ultimately, Congress can decide not to do anything. Ultimately, Nancy and Steve can decide not to do anything at all. But that's not the situation. Moreover, the false reporting continued with them claiming that Nancy and Steve are not talking. That's also untrue. Nancy and Steve spoke yesterday. And they spoke the day before. Now, not necessarily in the same room, not knitting a quilt together, not braiding each other's hair, not playing Parcheesi or, filling out an eHarmony questionnaire. They were on the phone, and they were discussing the second stimulus package to get this done. Now, what makes this day also more peculiar, this is more of what the hell news, is that there's a confusion out there as to what else happened in the president's announcements yesterday. He said a few things that normally were not the subjects of this channel, but really throw the flip switch on Steve Mnuchin and Nancy Pelosi. Let me give you the first example. He says, I'm ready. Now, this is a different verb. I'm ready to send $105 billion to states to help open schools safely. Now, it's not relevant, what is talked about with the schools. It's the amount of money and who it's going to. $105 billion to the states. Who? The states. $105 billion? Yes. Wait a second, LALATE. You were reporting me all last week that Steve Mnuchin was all over press saying that the deals are falling apart because the president doesn't want to give any money to the states. Yes. Okay, what's going on here? What are you talking about, Wills? Wait a second. This is what's happening as we sit here on Saturday. This is the what the hell news. There seems to be a continual twist, whether it's Republicans and Nancy. I'm on Nancy next. Hold up for Nancy. I'm on Nancy next. That we hear one thing in 1 minute, and the next minute it's a total different story. We were told on CNBC on Monday morning, if you tuned in early and watched David Faber and Jim Cramer interview or interrogate Steve Mnuchin as to why the deal can't be done. Steve Mnuchin spent all of 15 or 20 minutes of a very short interview. He's saying Nancy wants a big bailout for states. Nancy wants billions of dollars for states. We're not giving any more money for states. They have a lot of money for states. This is all Steve Mnuchin what he said. They have a lot of money for states. They have all this money. I have a track of how much money it is. I can see how much money they have. They haven't used the money. I've increased the lending guidelines so that they can, the spending guidelines so they can use the money in different regards in which they never used it before. I'm not giving any more money to the states. This is a bailout of states that were mismanaged fiscally before the pandemic. Okay, that's what he said. It was literally that much. It just went on and on and on, and I'm paraphrasing it, all 3 minutes there. Okay, so we had this all week long. It was repeated by the president. It was repeated by by other people in the cabinet, and I reported it, and the viewers were like, darn, Nancy, come on, get rid of that bailout of states. Give me my stimulus check. What are you doing, Nancy? Give me my stimulus check. Don't do the bailout of states. Let's deal with that later. And the week ended with us saying, okay, well, if you do need more money to the states, Steve, why don't you just oversee the money better? Do like an auditing process. And then there's this. The president says he's giving $105 billion to the states? I thought those were the evil states we heard about all week long. The states that weren't getting your stimulus check. The states whose bailout was holding up your stimulus check. Now, if this sounds sort of familiar, it should. Because we're hearing the same thing about Nancy Pelosi. It's both on the Republican and the Democratic side. Nancy Pelosi was under fire not yesterday, but Thursday, when Larry Kudlow sort of surprised CNBC's news reporters and said Nancy Pelosi is not making a deal because she suddenly wants to have a voter rights initiative and a big amount of money for voters' rights. And the broadcasters were like, just like I did before, what are you talking about, Wills? They're like, what? What are you talking about, Larry? Now, it's Larry Kudlow. We assume things to be crazy. We assume it's like your drunk aunt that has like too much bourbon and whiskey shots after watching, reruns of Golden Girls. It's like you understand he's going to be crazy. But this was really, Larry Kudlow crazy 2.0. What are you talking about? He was asked to explain what he's talking about. Then the White House was asked by CNBC to give a statement as to what they're talking about. Well, shortly thereafter, the president issued a statement. Steve Mnuchin issued a statement. And then Friday morning came this. Steve Mnuchin gave a statement to the White House press secretary who should communicate to the press and said, hey, there was an expressed offer from Steve Mnuchin of more money. This is great news, of a second stimulus package to Nancy Pelosi. She liked it, but something was backdooring in a voters' right initiative slush fund. What voters' rights initiative? Now, what's going on here, if you don't realize, and suddenly America is now sort of realizing, is that we had always thought that the Democrats, let me just tell you what's going on. Everyone's sort of piling in stuff after the fact. And so that nothing's getting done as to the negotiation of the package because everyone's piling in stuff that they didn't have even 24 hours before that. If you saw the reports all over broadcast news today about mail-in ballots and mail-in ballots and mail-in ballots, there's now a push by Nancy Pelosi to put all this money into the second stimulus package regarding mailing ballots and voters voting and all that wasn't in her stimulus package. But the problem about it is it's now holding up your check that you have been waiting since March for. And now we're holding up that because of something that's manifesting a problem today. Not fair. I'm sorry, Nancy, that's not fair. You're Congress people. You can have another congressional bill. Why do you have to always pile everything in the kitchen sink into this bill? Viewers of this channel were very irate several weeks ago when we learned that the Republicans' bill had a proposal to get a new FBI building, which has nothing to do with COVID-19 relief. Okay, so why is mail-in ballots and voting things, which is not relief for May and April or June, it's just problems with October and November, why are we piling it into this bill? Is it because you don't write any other bills? No. Is it because you're trying to hold up this bill with other stuff? Yes. Now, both Republicans and Democrats are now guilty of that, and viewers now understand it. We weren't understanding it before because we kept on being told there was an agreement upon everything but this. Ultimately, the good news is you're getting a stimulus check. The what the hell news is that the dependents are getting $500. The also what the hell news is that if you have a family of 5, tough luck. The president doesn't want to pay the family of 5. He only wants to pay the family of 4. There is no indication you'll get the remainder of the money, but at least for now, it's money that you need. It's money you need to ensure that you have money to pay for food and gas and water and all that. And the routing times we also know. That's also really good news. Routing times are 10 days from date of announcement by issuance of the Treasury Secretary and the IRS. So you could literally count it out 10 days. Now, ultimately, we'll see where this routing occurs. And this, ironically, is not the first time the president has made major announcements on a Friday afternoon as we go into the weekend and we don't know what the hell is going on with that really good news. Coming up next is afternoon's LALATE is hazard pay. I want to tell you, go to the front of this channel and hit that subscribe and like button. Just today alone, I have been not tweeting, it's not the correct verb. I have been YouTubing. I don't know what the word is. In YouTube, there is a community button where I can send messages to you. They're texts, they're written words, they're not videos. I have been sending messages about new grant programs. They're incredible. So I'm sending you information literally by the minute. So go to the front of the channel, hit that subscribe button, and then there's a little button next to it, alert. Hit both of them. If you've done that and you're not getting alerts, read the pinned comment by me in this video below that'll show how you ensure that you're getting alerts. Coming up next on Afternoons LALATE is hazard pay. As always, stay informed, stay smiling, stay focused. Thank you for joining me. It's been a great weekend so far. Stay safe and stay with LA for more.